Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Not Delete, the show where we review both new and older movies. This is Gino.
This is Robert.
This is Ricardo.
America.
And Gio.
Well, here we are again, guys. We're doing this again, and I don't know what to say, but I'm pretty shocked of this week's The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I don't know how to feel right now. Robert, tell us how do you feel about this one since it's your segment.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was the one who kind of like wasn't fully on board in the first episode. Second episode was really good. It really improved. Then the third one just kind of went like flat a little bit. It was like,
it's whack.
Like I'm still into the story, but just like it's like not like I don't know. It's nothing special, right? It's just
WandaVision.
But
it's just a story,
dancing
right?
Zemo.
Yeah, that was cool, but it's like it was like it had a lot of action, but I was like this episode I feel like it got a lot better. There was a lot. It's really dark. There's a lot of action in it, but like it really this is episode 4. It really meant something, and what I'm really liking about it is like there's a lot of ambiguity in the characters. Like you don't know who's good and who's bad, and the ones who are supposed to be good are like kind of bad. The ones who are supposed to be bad are kind of good, and even the main characters, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they're like, where are we going now? Like they don't. There's a lot of questions, so it's like it's some really like there's nice to see like some depth in the writing. There's some nice commentary like with the especially the new character, the new Captain America, like the way they're using his character. It's like
he's still on. Like
he's still on. Like he's like a really central part of the show.
I thought it was a joke the whole time.
Yeah, it's legit. Yeah.
Oh shit.
So yeah, it's like that aspect I'm really enjoying. So I hope they go deeper into that.
I'm looking forward to it too.
With that ending,
it's gonna
fuck.
Yeah, it was
like a shocking ending.
Super like dark. They go.
It's like something Captain America Steve Rogers wouldn't do. You know what I mean?
Hey, how popular is this show though? Like,
It's having pretty
popular.
Watching it because like I don't hear it as much as like WandaVision.
I think
there hasn't. I will say like there hasn't been like real big like spoilery reveals yet.
Yeah,
I think we passed the grace period now. Maybe the next episode like something big's gonna happen where I might have to stay up till midnight.
Ooh,
so maybe because there hasn't really been like a huge like oh my god like this dude showed up. Maybe that's why you haven't heard so much.
Is it like is it gonna be like 6 episodes, 10?
Maybe I don't know. I don't think I heard this one. I think it might be still around that same probably 10 episodes or so, because I think all these are just building up. That they're just bridges, I think, into that new phase. What was it, phase 4 now?
Yeah,
that we're going into. So yeah, I don't know if they're all gonna tie in together somehow, because I don't know if any of these characters are gonna pop up in which areas of the MCU. Yeah, so to be determined.
Still haven't watched anything.
You probably, I mean, by the time we get to the next movie or whatever, you will have to do your homework and watch the show, because I was gonna be like, oh, who's that guy? Who's that dude? So
yeah,
that's how they get you.
Yeah, because there's a lot of character development in. It seems like they're doing the character development in these shows, so they don't have to do them in the movies, so they can just kind of like get started.
There's some good stuff in there. It's not like mind blowing, but there's good stuff in there.
It's very Marvel-y.
Right?
Yeah, it's very Marvel-y.
This is all prelude to the phase 4.
Let's get into it, guys. Robert, what did we watch this week?
So this week, our new movie is called Nobody, and it's in theaters only. And it's directed by, I hate this name. I apologize to this director for fucking up his name, but Ilya Nashuler. I think he's Russian. Yeah. Stars Bob Odenkirk. And the movie's about a seemingly ordinary man whose house gets broken into one night. And that event sets off something inside of him, which leads to like a bloody confrontation on a public bus. After those events, he gets involved with like this deadly Russian, and he must protect himself and his family with the skills that he acquired like from his dark past. I don't know if they ever say like he was in the military or something. He acquired a very unique set of skills, Yeah. Who wants to start us off here?
I'll go first.
All right, Gio, go first. What did you think of this movie?
This movie was, well, one, I'm in on this movie. Like it it's for it being the first movie to go back to a theater. This is the type of movie I think you want to break in because this is a total theater popcorn kind of movie. It's like it's this movie. Like while watching it, this movie is a mixture of Falling Down, if anybody ever saw that one, and John Wick.
Yeah.
Smash those two movies together, you get this movie.
Yeah.
Because it's just it's just one thing triggers this guy and brings him back to his dark past, just like John Wick. So yeah, like all the fight scenes were good. The ending was like the Home Alone on steroids ending. it was just like I said, it was a good movie to go back and watch it like at a theater. Like it was a good one to break back in that movie going experience. So I'm in. What about you, America?
I really like this movie too. I'm an in. Yeah, I hadn't seen any trailers or anything. So I guess I went into it kind of with a clean slate, because if I knew it was like kind of an action-y movie, I probably would have been like, I don't want to watch it. So glad that I didn't know anything about it, because it was so fun. This movie really is kind of like a John Wick, and I enjoyed John Wick. I think I watched all of them, right? When we went to watch it in theater.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it enough, but I feel like this movie did it right, because it sets him up as, the badass, and we don't really know why.
Yeah.
But we get enough information throughout the film to like get kind of like clued into his character. And I don't know, I just thought it was really, really fun. So yeah, passing it along to Gino, the big John Wick fan.
Yeah, you're the action guy.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I'm a super duper ultra in.
Ooh.
What can I say, dude? Bob Odenkirk, he's like a sleeper. You know what I mean? Like he's like a sleeper Honda Accord that's in the corner. You're like, you beat him. I could beat this guy. Fuck this car, with my GTR, fucking 800 horsepower car. And next to it, zoom, fucking flies by me. That's how I see him. Because when I was watching it, I was like, I don't know if is this a funny movie or this is a really serious action movie. I'm just glad it's a bit of both. And oh man, what can I say? I had a fucking great time. It's like what Gio says. It's like a good movie to get back into the theaters, and this is it. Because you're gonna have a great time. I had a great time, even though I was surrounded by people eating popcorn without their masks, and I freaked out because I'm the only one with a mask. But whatever. But I mean, oh man, what made me super duper in is Christopher Lloyd. He fucking killed it.
Yeah.
I loved him so much in this movie.
Oh, Doc Brown?
In that much.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say. I loved it. I actually really enjoyed it. I can't wait to come on Blu-ray. I'll buy it on the first day,
Oh, good review.
What about you, Ricardo?
Oh, okay. Here it comes. No. What was the movies you said that it reminded you of?
Fallen Down and
Falling Down.
John Wick.
John Wick. Okay, so this movie got Falling Down and John Wick, like the best parts of it, and then put it into one, shorten it up, and like I am a super in on this movie. Super in. Yes, I enjoyed everything about it. I fucking love the actor too.
Bob
Odenkirk.
Yes, he's fucking good, dude. I didn't have like for real, like the whole movie just kept going. It went fast too, like it got to the point. And I want like for real, the bad guy. I don't know his name, whatever. But the bad guy when when they introduced him, that one scene it's like a one take shot. And they're and then in the club and he's walking and then like he's doing coke and then he's fucking like talking shit and then he starts dancing. I was like, my God, this fucking movie is badass, dude. It's badass. I loved it. I love that it's cool. Like, like it's really cool. And then like it didn't bother me anything. Like I was just like, okay, cool. So I'm a super in and like a great watch, and especially in the theaters. So yes, I recommend this movie. Yeah. Robert?
Yeah, it's funny, because like the super like analytical critic inside me like was looking at this movie and like the stuff that happened, like I'm like, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen, because it's like it's so out there, and all over the place. I was like, wow. But I think because of that, you can't help but have a good time. Yeah. Right. So I think, that side of me, the movie loving side of me, just like enjoyed the hell out of it. Right. So I'm in. it is very much cut from the same cloth as John Wick, that same style of action, which I think is a good thing, you know, because like for years we had seen action movies with like super shaky cam, and even still now, you can't. They use that style to kind of hide like the inability of the actors to like fight and you know and the director to stage, you know, so you make it fast and you don't know what's going on, but something happened, right? I appreciated that this didn't have like the super duper shaky cam, like all the action stuff, like it felt really rough, like the hits and everything, like to the point where it's like, you know, they want to make it like super gritty and realistic, but it kind of becomes like not realistic because he's like, how do they keep walking, you know? But it's not like a very real. I mean, you have to like, this is definitely, I think you all said it. It's a super like movie theater movie. You go, you check off your brain. I don't say that as a bad way, you know, and just like you just be entertained by like all this crazy action that's good. And you know, the script does a good job at making you care about what's going on, or else the action would have meant nothing, you know. So I got to give it credit for that. So you know, I love Bob Odenkirk and you know, Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. So like seeing like more of him, like more, you know, get to extend his range, you know, into like full on action star, like that's pretty damn cool, you know. So yeah, I'm in on this, and I think we all have to talk now about our theater experience, because for many of us here, this is our first time back after a whole year of being gone. So before we get into like details, like everybody share like what was it like going back to the theater, like, you know.
I had to make sure, like when I picked my seat, I was like, because I think America and Ricardo had already gone to the theater, I think, to go see King Kong, right? Yeah. So and they were saying like, some people weren't being considerate with the social distancing. So like when I went, I made sure that I got the 2 seats like in the back. So like I just have the little row to myself. There's nobody that can sit next to me, and
all the way in the corner. Or
yeah, practically almost. I was like, second from the back. And then with my luck, like a lady and a kid show up, and they sat behind me and they were eating popcorn. But luckily I was in front and I had my mask on the whole time. So I was like,
no snacks for you?
No, I was going to risk it. I'm one vaccine away from, you know, being good. So I was like,
so overall, were you able to, were you able to escape, like fully, like, you know, escape into the movie? Yeah.
Dude, okay. So like we said, like this movie is ridiculous. So like it's that action comedy, you know, kind of element, like over the top. Like at one point he pulls a freaking claymore in front of a glass and he gets blown back and all that stuff. Like during that part, there were people laughing in the auditorium. Like that's the experience that you miss when you're at home watching these movies. They were laughing their butts off at all these all the action that was happening during that towards the end. So it was like, it was a good experience, at least on my part. What about you, Gino?
Oh man, that was great. I went to the Harkins here in Cerritos Mall. Man, they literally tell me straight up, okay, these seats are taken and / are empty. So this is available. I said, give me the one with the handicaps, because I know damn well no one's gonna sit next to me. And the guy's like, you got it, bro. And he picked it. And I felt bad because actually a woman with the wheelchair came through.
No seats for me, and she puts
it on reverse. No, it's because you know what happened? I guess she came with her parents, and then they're like, "Oh, well, this man took this row, so we have to sit somewhere else." And I'm like, "Oh no!" I felt even more. I felt even more worse than it is. Either way, that was very unexpected on my first day back, to take a handicap row and actually have someone handicapped show up and just roll into the seat, to the row far away from me. I'm like, sorry, but we had a good laugh. But I had a good experience. I missed it. Like Gio said, like everyone's we all laughed and everything, even though I was still kind of cautious of like people eating popcorn with their mask off and like ha 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 and like eating and everything. I'm just like, well, I have my mask on. It doesn't matter, you know. I should be fine. So I'm just sitting there like, you know. But you know what? I laughed so hard, my mask almost came off. Like the tip right here that was holding the bridge of my nose kept going down. And I was like, oh no! What about you, America and Ricardo? How did you guys get your experience?
Trip out on this though. We saw it in the drive-in. So
okay.
I think that contributes to its enjoyableness.
Yeah, because we experienced the Godzilla movie, right? And like,
we're like, nope.
Whoa, never again, because we had a bad experience.
Right.
So like I guess it traumatized us. We should have watched this movie first, actually, to be honest. Because like honestly, like these I don't want to be a dick. I was gonna talk shit. I'm like, oh, these Mexicans were fucking there.
Whoa.
No. Anyways,
Just say it, bro. Say it.
no. But like it I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but like we did watch it in the drive-in, but nobody was there. So it was like I guess
Everyone-
people were watching Godzilla. So it was like empty, and then like we were there and the screen was huge. We could hear everything. There was no lights fucking it up. It was good.
This was like the first like real movie experience.
Yeah.
Because during the pandemic, we'd been going to the drive-in, but we'd have to get there super early because everyone's going because there's nothing to do, obviously.
Yeah.
And people wouldn't turn off their lights, so we couldn't see the movie.
Yeah, it was like
and
bad.
it was just
Horrible.
horrible.
The line would take hours. It was just like bad.
Yeah.
So now
So this was fun. It was like us and a few other cars.
Yeah.
And we're all safe. And
like literally
fun.
like 10 cars, a big ass parking lot. And then like I remember watching it and then like thinking like, oh, this movie's gonna be like whatever. But dude, when the movie started and then like shit started happening, I was like, dude, this is a great movie to watch. And I wish I watched it like you guys did. So because if you could hear Gio and Gino, like you said that people were laughing, oh my god, if I could hear other people like enjoying it, I would have been. That's what I missed, one of the parts that I missed about theater. So I missed out on that,
If you hadn't badmouthed Montebello AMC, like that's where I want to go watch, and it was perfectly fine.
Shit.
Like the capacity.
Also,
I'm not going back there. I'm sure.
Also, like just kind of give some clarification. So me, Gio have been vaccinated, at least half vaccinated for them. I only got the one shot, so we feel a little bit more comfortable going to the theater. Even though I went before I was vaccinated to watch Tenet. So yeah, for me going, like, it was, obviously I wouldn't have it any other way. But I went to the AMC here in Burbank, the one inside the mall.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna
it's
say
like
which one.
Yeah, so that's like it's like the least popular one, and I went pretty early on a Friday, early like at 6. So there was like maybe like 1, 2, 3, 4. There was like maybe 10 people in there in the theater.
Cool.
So, and we were all pretty spread out. But even with that small number of people, you still felt the energy.
Oh, really?
Like you guys mentioned, like the climax scene. It's so fucking ridiculous and over the top, especially with Doc Brown. And it's like, it was like so like you feel the people like laughing and like yelling stuff when there wasn't even that many people there. But I imagine like a full packed theater, like an opening night during those scenes. Oh man, it would have been insane, So that was pretty cool. So I don't know. Now I guess that I have the vaccine, I'm gonna keep going. I'm not gonna not go. I just love it. I just can't not go to the I know we're getting everything on HBO and all that stuff, but honestly, if I have the choice, I'm not gonna watch it at home. I'd rather
we gotta go.
I gotta go. It's just a different experience,
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, but I love the Doc Brown's Christopher Lloyd's character in the movie is so funny. That scene in like the retirement home where they go after him, it was so goddamn funny and so cool. And it reminded me so much of that Simpsons episode where Mr. Burns is trying to kill Grandpa, and he goes to the retirement home to try to kill him, and he like shoots up the home, and that nurse comes out of the back. She's like,
"Our residents are trying to nap."
I saw his name on the credits. I was like, they have to use his full potential as an actor because he cannot be there just to play an old man. That's what I was hoping. And he went all out. I loved it. I love how happy he was throughout that shootout scenes that he did. It was I can tell he was having a great time. I don't think it was acting.
It was funny because like it was happening. Like they showed up for the first time. And I was like, oh shit, look who it is. It was like, who's that? And I was like, it's Doc Brown, damn it. Like, dude, when was the last time I saw this asshole?
Yeah.
His scenes are like is an example of the movie. How like this movie is so cool. Cool. Like I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain cool, but the movie is actually cool. Like the characters are cool, the scenes are cool. I don't know how to explain it. Gio, explain it for me.
I will to that. I will say it doesn't. It is very grounded, right? In reality, kind of. but it doesn't take itself too seriously,
Right.
you know, and it has a lot of comedy in it, right?
Yeah.
On top of the crazy, like, well staged action, you know, that's what makes it cool, right?
Cool,
It's
right? Yeah.
like the action scenes like play out like a fucking music, like a well-directed music video, you know, it's so much damn fun.
Was it? I was looking it up on. It says on IMDb that like this whole idea for this movie is based on true events to a certain degree.
Okay.
What?
Well,
I mean, there's a lot of home robberies.
Something that would happen on a bus. So
I don't know.
well,
Yeah, have you ever been on a bus in LA?
No, well, like the thing is, like, so Bob Odenkirk's house got broken into, and then like he said that the whole like the authorities, you know, kind of handled it poorly or whatever when, you know, at the end of the day. So he's like, kind of out of frustration, he's like, what would I have done if I was a badass? And that's how this movie was born.
Oh my god,
that's so funny.
So this is his what if I wasn't like, if I were to have taken action, and then that kind of became the story.
That reminds me of like the Chainsaw Massacre, right? How it got created. He was in the fucking hardware store, and then like
he just saw a chainsaw.
No, he was in line, and he was like, I don't want to wait here. And then he was like, imagine I had a chainsaw and I would chainsaw everybody. No, I seriously look it up, Gio. You will know. He said that, and then that's how he came out with the Chainsaw Massacre.
I think too, obviously, like, if it was able to like get my attention, it's probably because of, you know, the intricacies of the script and also the pacing. Because like if anything goes over 2 hours, I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I'm closing my eyes at an hour and a half, and that's it. You know, that's where my threshold is. And the pacing in this movie is so freaking good, and it starts from the first scene. From the first scene where he, like, it's like a Wednesday or something, I think they tell us, and he misses the trash, and we see that a couple of times, and it's done in a way like, because you can do that, you can have like a little like time lapse of like weeks where he goes through the same thing, and it's gonna bore you. And you know that you just need to get it out of the way to set the stage for what's going to happen. But I felt like that first opening scene was like so entertaining. Like it was like, even that, just the opening scene is paced so well. You know?
Yeah. You see his soul being crushed like little by little. Like by the end of it, he's just like,
But speaking to that and like pacing and everything, something we always talk about, especially in last week or the week before, when we talked about Justice League, right? And how our guests, Kevin and Swan, the young adults, were saying like, you need the 4 hours to introduce all those characters. And I said, no. I was like, you need a screenplay to do that for you, not 4 hours, right? And it's so goddamn refreshing to see a motherfucking script in a movie with 3 acts. With a movie that I just checked to verify, the movie is 1 hour and 31 minutes.
Wow!
Yep.
I'm telling
Get the fuck out of here, Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder.
This is how you make a motherfucking movie. Movies do not need to be more than an hour and a half to 2 hours. Like, this is pacing, everything. There's no fluff. It's just set up. You set up the character. You know what his deal is. You know what his family's deal is. You know that his son hates him. You know his daughter loves him. His wife is distant, right?
Yeah, everything.
You get it, right?
It doesn't even have to tell you. Like, it shows you. There's a.
It shows you. Right? That's a movie.
Of pillows in between them. You know something's up. Like, he's sleeping like all by himself. You know, there's no affection or anything. She keeps like, you know, twisting the knife of like, oh, you forgot to take out the trash. Like, you know, there's something there. You know.
Yeah, and it's cool because like the whole time you kind of question like, oh, does she know that he's like this? And then you find out that she does. She's like Carmela Soprano. She fucking knew the whole time, you know. It's fucking beautiful. I love that shit, you know. So it's good writing, dude. It's good.
It's a script. And I think that speaks to like what we all loved about. We went to see a movie, right? We didn't see some bullshit, you know, like fucking.
It didn't try to be something else.
Yeah.
It didn't try to be. It's like, how long has it been since we've seen something like this, right? Something that's not made up, like Godzilla versus Kong as it's going along, right? It's just like, here was the script. they had this character, they had a good actor to pair him with. Director did a great job in telling the story, right?
It's even harder because you would usually say, or I would usually say, like, it's an action movie, so it fucking sucks. And somebody would say, well, you don't need it to be good and you don't need it to make sense because it's an action movie. And so you're able to just sweep off anything. And this is how you fucking do it. Good writing, good acting, good directing, everything. If you haven't gone to the movies yet, go watch this movie. Go risk your life for it.
Yeah, dude. And then
Definitely.
after I watched it, I remember my cousin Saul, shout out to Saul if he's listening. He told me, dude, you haven't watched it? Watch this shit right now. And I was like, I just fucking did. You're fucking right.
all right, guys. America just gave me this. We have a new category. A risker or a non-risker. This is definitely a risker. Go risk it. Go to the movies. Go risk it. It's a risker.
Safely. Risk it safely.
If you're gonna see one last movie, make it this one.
Off to an old pick. Robert, what was your pick and why?
All right. So my pick this week is called Ghost World. It's directed by these fucking directors with their names. So sorry. Sorry, director of Ghost World, Terry Zwigoff. Yeah, so it stars Thor Birch and Scarlett Johansson and Steve Buscemi. And the movie is based on the comic book of the same name. And it's about two girls who just graduated high school. They hate everybody. They hate everything. They play it. Yeah. They play a prank on this poor Steve Buscemi's character. But Thor Birch's character, like, eventually, like, begins a friendship with him. And that's kind of what the movie's about. It's a very loose plot. I picked it because it's a little bit inspired by Gio's pick, which was a Garden State, which is kind of like a hipster movie, right? This, I feel, was like the movie, I think, in my theory is that it invented like the modern hipster, right, today, you know? But mainly also I picked it because I watched this movie back like in 2006 or 2007. On, I don't know if you guys ever knew the channel. It was called IFC, Independent Film Channel. Yeah, so back when that channel was good and they actually showed movies, like cool movies, I used to just have it on.
Hello. Give me props. There we go. Oh, that's right.
Right. So yeah, I used to just have it on and just like whatever came on, I would watch, right? And this was a movie that just came on and it just kind of caught my attention. I ended up watching, and I wasn't like blown away by it. I was like, oh, I like that movie, right? That was fun. Like, I hadn't really started like watching like different type of independent films before, you know. So it was like I was still being exposed to it's like new style of movies, you know. So I enjoyed it. But then I think I was reminded by it because I watch Pluto TV a lot. Do you guys know what that is?
Yeah.
So it's like this free streaming service where it's kind of like it's like regular TV where they just program stuff and like you just watch it with commercials, right? It's a lot of old stuff. And this movie just happened to pop on. I was like, oh, I remember this movie. So combine that with Gio's pick, I was like, oh, I want to revisit it, right, to see if it still holds up, because I remember mildly enjoying it back when I watched it, but I haven't really thought about it since. So I'll kind of give like a little review here. I would say I am still in on this movie, even though like the characters watching it now, they came off as like really, really unlikable. I was like, you know, it's very angsty, you know, I guess because they're teenagers, you know. So I was able to connect to that more because I think I saw it at the age where the characters were, right? Like coming out of high school, right? Yeah. So I was able to relate to it back then, but now it's like, man, who the fuck are these kids? You know, like get a job, you know? So, but I think it's still, you know, it's very quirky, you know, like it's not like the hipster stuff, you know? So, you know, it doesn't really get too annoying, you know, even though they're kind of mean, I think I still kind of got into it. So I would say like I'm a soft in. I don't know, maybe you guys will change my mind. But I guess I'll go with Gino, since I think you're the only one here who hadn't seen the movie, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah. So
right? I mean, I haven't really.
What did you think?
I remember okay, I'll be honest, I haven't fully watched it. I remember seeing pieces of it, and it's because of Steve Buscemi. But I actually, I didn't know Scarlett Johansson was in it. I just remember it's a girl from Hocus Pocus and American Beauty, whatever, you know. And why is she so emo? You know what I mean?
I'll tell you guys why after.
My time, Gio. Don't interrupt me. But yeah, I'm gonna say I'm an owl. I want to delete it, but I kind of don't hate my time. There were some things I kind of like the quirkiness. There were some scenes I was like, this is weirding me out. I don't know if that's what the movie's supposed to do. Yeah, the ending though. I want to talk about the ending because I'm so fucking lost. I was literally like, what the fuck just happened?
Right,
I know
I'm done.
like yeah, I was like, wait, what's going on here? I was just like, Robert, maybe I might answer this question for me. So that's why that's what's been bugging me this whole weekend. I mean,
We'll see.
Pressure's on.
we'll see. But like, Gio, what about you, man?
I think I'm on the same boat as Robert. This movie, it's entertaining enough, so I will give it as well that soft in. But because there's moments where like it does kind of go into that creepy factor, as in like just the relationship that Thora Birch's character Enid has with Steve Buscemi's character, because they don't straight out tell you how old they are, but you see them graduate high school.
You would assume they're 17, 18 around there.
Yeah.
I
like the fact that they were able to go into an adult bookstore and not get kicked out kind of puts you in their
I think
they're 18.
Yeah. Because of the events that happened at the end, somebody
So it's
would go to
okay.
jail. Yeah.
Okay.
So like this, because like these characters, all right, so this comic book was written between 1993 and 97. So you, because like watching this movie, this is like is it Daria the movie, like it's those same kind of
America the movie.
Yeah, it's those same kind of characters and it's those same kind of attitudes towards things.
Yeah, that Gen X
so
that attitude. Yeah,
because this movie was released in 2001. Like this doesn't have that feeling of like that 2001. Like this has that 90s feeling for being a 2000s movie. So hence why they're all angsty and stuff, because it's Gen X. This is a Gen X movie pretty much, as opposed to I guess a millennial, or not even. I think millennials were barely getting started. But yeah, it's a bit creepy, but it's still kind of entertaining enough that I'm giving it that soft in. What about you, Ricardo?
Oh, cool. Okay, so I saw this movie a long time ago. It might have been the IMC channel, dude. This motherfucker, who is this guy? Anyways, but
you probably watch it at the same time, huh?
Yeah, like you know. But I remember I already loved the movie, right? And then so my brother, he watches movies too, and he's younger than me, so he was like a certain age, and I was like, oh, dude, you gotta watch this movie, Ghost World. So I showed it to him, and that's the last time I saw it, and that was like 10 years ago, right? I haven't seen this movie in a long time, so I always used to say, oh, this movie's fucking badass. So then I watched it again now, and I already knew like the things, and I was like, oh man, I don't like watching these press movies, you know, like I really don't, you know. But watching that movie, the one you recommended, Gio, Garden State, yeah, like the way they did it with the music and the like, they try to push it into your face, like that. This movie is an example of how you don't have to push it into your face, you know, like. This is just like a movie where they're showing the situation, you know. I thought I still think the movie's funny, and like the girl is like like now that I'm old, I think because I'm old, right? The girl's annoying to me, you know, and I'm like, dude, relax, chill, you know, like chill. And the one person that annoys me the most is Steve Buscemi. So like the fact that he makes me feel so many things, he annoys me, dude. I'm like, dude,
character wise or like actor wise, what
character?
No, that's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say. That like the character in this movie, the Steve Buscemi, he made me feel so many feelings, and he brought it back. Because I remember we still talk about it with my brother. We always like talk shit about this character because he's so good in it. You know, he's perfect in it. So I'm a super in it still. I'm still in this movie. I'm more like than like a little. I still am a full blown in. Like I love the way he's played in this movie, and like I love the way he makes me feel. He makes me feel guys in movies. And he annoys me, and he fucking doesn't like sports. Fuck that fool.
As I wear my jersey.
Exactly. So
So America.
He's not your typical nerd. He's like the annoying ones. You know, the ones that even you guys fucking talk shit about, right?
We'll talk about it. Yes. But America, what did you think of your biopic?
I'm super in, and it might be because I also watched it like I think like coming out of high school. So it's kind of like one, you're a little angsty yourself, and two, like the time that I watched it, I remember I had kind of a falling out in a friendship. So I was kind of, you know, that it's very much what happens in this movie.
Tell us that story. So, I never heard this.
So it is your biography.
No, let's not turn it into a therapy session.
Close with, right? And it's just kind of like, I guess it's kind of like a heartbreak, you know what I mean? Like, but it's just like somebody, it's like if your parent like just said like, nah, never mind, like I don't want you anymore. You know? It's like someone that you're super close with. Yeah, it's like someone you're super close with, and then like you just kind of have a falling out, and you kind of figure out yourself outside of the person that you identify so close with, you know. Mm-hmm. So like this movie hit like extra hard when I saw it, and I don't think I'd seen it since then. So it has really been like 10 years ish. And yeah, like looking back, like fucking emo girl, oh my god, shut up. You know,
that's all you.
I don't go about the world like saying, oh, don't do that because whatever, you know, like I'm just like, I don't like it, you know.
Rebecca's just like, I hate myself too, so it's fine.
Yeah, no, and then I think the ending is so like vague, it's so weird, and I had the same question when I first watched it, and I still have it now. And it still doesn't take anything away from the movie. I think like it gives you that kind of like intrigue, like what happened, like it's a little magical in some way, like in the worst way possible, you know. But it's just like this little like fantasy thing, like what's going on, you know, like what's really happening. So I don't know, I guess let's open up. Does anyone have any like idea what happened?
I mean, I have my theory because like it is ambiguous, right? Like it's just like what happens to her. But I think the movie is I think the reason why we kind of find the character annoying now is that it's essentially about a girl who doesn't want to grow up, right? Mm-hmm. It's like she's out of high school now, she has to become an adult, right? And she's trying with every fiber of her being to not go into the real world, right? When her best friend, he's like, hey, we gotta get things going, right? And that's why they have a falling out, because she starts becoming an adult and this girl just wants to play, right? So her getting on that bus or whatever, I think it symbolizes that she's like not gonna grow up, right?
Yeah.
She's rejecting the adult life. It's like that's her being like, I'm just gonna live as a kid, right?
I'm just gonna check out.
Yeah, I'm just gonna reject that, get a job and have a like normal adult life, you know, and just go off into some fantasy land, right?
Okay.
Well, I have. All
right, that's my theory. Like, what do you guys think?
Well, my theory is the same thing, where like she's gonna go somewhere, but instead of going to like a place like a fantasy world, she's actually going to the like, okay, I'm a be like a grown up, but I'm not gonna be with them. Like it's my own life, like the way I want to start it with. You know how like she's everything.
Becoming Steve Buscemi?
No, because everything is true. Like you know how like people saying like, oh, you're gonna.
Yeah, she has to conform.
To everything. Yeah. So everything is gonna be on her now, but she is gonna grow up, but on her terms now, like on the way she wants it to do it. So that's how I see it. I don't know.
I think the way that you described it sounds kind of positive. Like it's all going to turn out at the end.
It has to be.
And I don't feel like it.
I love positive shit.
I don't.
Because go ahead, Robert.
Oh, I think it's funny because like, you know, Gen X is like the last generation I think to have the.
Shit about me?
Wait, you're not Gen
X. We're all Gen Y, fool.
Oh,
we might even be millennials. I don't know.
You are millennials.
We're millennials.
Yeah. We're all millennials.
No, we're all millennials.
We're all millennials. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Gen X was kind of like the last generation where like you had that social like construct of like once you're 18, you go to college, you leave your parents' house, right? Mm-hmm. Where in Gen Y was the one to kind of like stay home for much longer, right? Yeah. So I think in a way it was kind of predicting the future, right? Because like she doesn't want to leave the house. She wants to preserve the time that you have where you don't have to go to school anymore, but you also don't have to be an adult anymore, right? It's like that summer after high school, right?
Yeah.
They have like a freedom. She wants to preserve that. And for many of us, that has lasted more than a summer. That have lasted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, right? To decades, right? So it's a weird kind of like it's a weird world that she wants to hang on to, right? And I think that's what the ending means, you know. At least in my eyes.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Right. So it's negative. It's awesome, but it's negative because she's choosing to reject reality, right? She doesn't want to live in the real world.
Yeah.
She mentions it that was her dream, to leave, go somewhere without nobody knowing, and then just kind of, I guess, see what's out there or whatever it was. I'm trying to remember.
So she literally goes nowhere in her life.
Yeah, but the thing, like, I don't want to see it that way. You know, like I think it's like a perspective. Like
you're thinking she's gonna be like a fucking like an artist and she's gonna make a living that way, right? But the reality is that
she's gonna wake up and be like, "Oh, this is what I have to do."
What's your theory, Gino and Gio? Before we
my theory is the whole thing we're watching is her in purgatory, and it's her finally she's finally accepting she's dead and she's fucking leaving to go to that life or something. Because think about it, it's a bus that's in no service. All right, the leading she says it throughout the whole movie. It's a guy that sits there, and that's a guy that probably was ready, but he's not sure he was ready until the bus showed up, and so that's why he left first. And so when she saw it, she's like, "Well, fuck. I think I'm ready to leave." Yeah, I'm sorry I blew your mind, bro. That's what I thought. That's why I wanted to ask Robert, what's your what is the ending? Because that to me, that's how I took it. Like she's been dead this whole time.
Wait.
Purgatory.
I see fucking Gio looking it up. Don't cheat.
No.
All right,
No, the other day.
Hence Ghost World.
No. Oh, Ghost World.
That's what I've always thought. I told him, I was like, I think she kills herself. And he was like, that's nasty. Like, why would you think that? And I'm like, have you even thought about the title? Why else? Like, nobody ever saw a ghost in this movie, and it was never fully expressed.
Gino unlocked the movie. He unlocked the movie.
The thing is that, like, I think when I want to go look up like about this movie, a little bit background, that's a bit of a something I think that some people have kind of brought up to the writers.
People always bring that up in every movie, like, oh, fucking every like Grease, like, oh, they're dead, and at the end they go into heaven, right?
I think it was like whether it was like a metaphor for suicide or something.
Yeah, who cares? What's your theory, Gio? What's your theory?
No, I think my theory was closer to Robert's. Like she's just trying to escape, I guess. I think the growing up. She just keeps like moving, away from that growing up.
Is it like the project? What's it called?
Florida Project.
Florida Project. Yeah, I don't think it's that abstract. I don't think the movie made itself out to be that way.
I think Gino's right.
I do like that theory, but there's nothing. Aside from the guy waiting for the bus, there's nothing that.
Don't say that because they're fucking it. This girl is just depressed as shit, and like in every like imagery way possible, like the movie makes it like this is the depressed one, this is the one who doesn't want to conform, this is the one who doesn't like life, this is the one who's fucking like a 49-year-old. I don't know how old this man is, like she's every time that somebody hits on Scarlett Johansson, like she's just like, ew, I'm right here too, you know what I mean? And it's like,
that's what I was gonna say.
You can have, I think, maybe a moment of thinking like, oh, I never get hit on, but she takes it to the extreme of like being kind of mad, like, hey, don't you see I'm a person? I don't think she's ever going to grow out of that, especially considering the ending and the guy who like nobody ever pays attention to except for her. She only ever pays attention to like kind of the outsiders, like the way outside ones, you know what I mean? Yeah. Scarlett Johansson says like, what do you do with Steve Buscemi? That's kind of weird, and she's like, nah, whatever, like I'm gonna do this. So I think, yeah.
Oh, I get it.
I mean,
she's ignored like a ghost, and that's the world that she's living in.
No, I think the ghost world, from I think what I kind of saw is, it's the changing of, I guess, the changing of times where like I think these small towns were being kind of, fading away, and you'd start seeing more like malls and mini malls and like shopping malls and stuff like being more commercialized, I guess.
Everybody gets 4 points, but Gino gets 5.
No,
So I found
totally, because I totally
make this
totally
movie
didn't
about
read.
suburbia. I really don't think so. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's no.
Yeah.
'Cause especially having grown up in like a small place that grew like in my lifetime, and now I go back and I'm like, where the fuck did this stop sign come from? Like, I mean, having grown up and like maybe also like an emo kid, and like my friends were kind of in that circle, you know what I mean? Like, it's just the weird shit that happens, the weird people you come in contact with that you probably shouldn't be talking to, but you do, you know what I mean? And it's like, so it's kind of like circumstances that have nothing to do with your, or are not about your surrounding, but are influenced by your surroundings. Like the Steve Buscemi's and the tiny town. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of Steve Buscemi, I just wanted to say I think it's funny that in this movie he's totally portrayed like as a loser, right? Like as a creep, right? But I think if you pluck him out of that time and place him in this time, he's like the coolest guy ever, right? What I was talking about the hipsters, right? He collects vinyls, right? He has all those knickknacks. He has all those knickknacks in his house. Right? It's like he's obsessed with collecting things, right, that are rare, right? Like totally predicting what people would become now, right?
Mm-hmm. That kitschy.
I didn't mean to talk shit, man.
No, I mean it's
next week.
It's funny because like a lot of the stuff he says, like he's unable to connect with people, so he obsesses like with collecting things, right? Like I could totally relate to that. Yeah. Right? Like I hope I'm not as fucking creepy as he is. Like, but yeah, it's funny that somebody who would be looked at as a loser in that time, like his style, at least the things that he's into, like come around,
because at the same time he is cool, like what the music type, how like he's like telling her all of this kind
the
of
jazz and all that stuff.
Yeah, so it's fine, but like damn, this motherfucker, he bugs me, dude, right?
Oh, totally. He's like,
yes.
Because I think that's the brilliance of Steve Buscemi, right? He's always playing like these creeps and stuff like that. Yeah. And I pulled a Geo, I read up on the trivia. He was so uncomfortable playing that character.
Oh, really?
That he would after they were done, he would like strip away his wardrobe and like go back into his regular clothes because he hated being in that guy's skin.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. See,
but he plays it so well, right? Like he's totally like this immature, like guy. Like,
he's so like obsessed with like. Okay, I know we're all nerds, but like he's so kind of tunnel vision into it. Like he's so introverted that he isn't able to connect until he meets Enid, who's also she's not necessarily an introvert, but like she's just weird, and I guess she's always kind of looking. Because she's always changing her like her looks or whatever. So I think she's trying to also like find maybe like who exactly she is. Yeah, and then like she kind of, I guess, finds somebody that I guess has it figured out.
But their relationship. It's strange because she looks at him kind of like you would look at like an ugly dog, right? Like, oh look, it's so like let me take care of it, It's like it's almost like she takes pity on him, right?
Also, I think that's because I think there's a bit of guilt.
I don't think there's
guilt for what? Because of what they did to him?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No,
I think what it is coming from a place where she has no self-esteem because nobody's ever looked at her and she wants to be that person. And then she's like, oh, this guy, like, I'm kind of like cute looking. I'm young. Like this guy's in like old, ugly fuck. Like, of course I'm going to get him, so she sees him as a sure chance. And like, she is taking advantage of her position and knowing that he's also looking at her and maybe not wanting to because I don't think he is that person who's like looking at 17-year-olds. I don't think he is exactly the creep that he comes off as. I think he becomes that because Enid comes into his life and keeps fucking pushing at that door. And so I think she's a little bit like she's like manipulating him a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and not to say like, oh, like she knows exactly what she's doing. She obviously doesn't because she's young and naive. But I think she's coming from this place where she's like super vulnerable and she's trying to get like an experience, you know, like that feeling that she's been looking for with her peers. Like she's not going to get that. So
I think you're right. Cause like because it does kind of go with, like I said, like her appearance. Like she's always wearing like these kind of loud colors or whatever, bright colors, no, except, you know, she's always trying to be like her outfits are always stand out. And even like when she changed her hair, like everybody noticed. So she's trying to get, like you said, noticed. And I think the only one that kind of does that is Buscemi or whatever.
But
yeah.
Well, not even, because like he doesn't notice her until like she literally tells him, why not me?
Yeah.
You've been looking at all these other girls. I've been here in front of you this whole time. Why not me? And then that's when it gave him like the green light to like, oh, okay, let's do this.
That's why the movie bugs me so much, where he has a girl that likes him, that actually likes him and everything, and he just fucking like lets go because of this girl.
That's where he becomes full creep.
Yeah, and then it's just like it becomes sad too, and it comes to a sad point where it's like, oh my god, like these guys, god damn it, you know. But it gets
to be
But
fair,
I think that
happy though.
I think that shows like, because he's like an emotionally, what do you say, like stunted person. He's immature, right? So he never like grew up. Essentially, he never got a wife. He never got over his like toy fascination, right? In a way, he is what she's going to become, right? Like later in life, right? She's not going to be able to grow up. She's not going to be able to ever be like emotionally involved with other people, right? Because she's too weird, for lack of a better term, you know.
Yeah, but the way it's played, it fucking worked. Great cast, dude. I don't know how they got them to do it, but like it was fucking, it worked.
I feel like it's a dark movie, but it's also, I don't know, something about it seems like fun.
Yeah, it's a whimsically dark movie.
It's a good movie. I think the problem that I have, and I think that Gino probably kind of have, is that we're looking at the characters now, I think in our age, right?
Yeah.
Where I think the movie is really for people of that age, because I saw it literally at that age, at the right age, right? And I enjoyed it. And it's kind of like when you look back at yourself in that age, like, what the fuck is wrong with me, right? Like, it's so stupid, right? So I do still enjoy it, even though it's kind of like, I wouldn't recommend it to many people. I don't think people would kind of like enjoy it or get it. They'll probably just think it's fucking weird, right? But in that hipster kind of category, like Garden State and like Juno type movies, you know, I think it's still pretty good.
Well, tune in next week. Our new movie is The Trial of the Chicago 7, and Ricardo's pick, which is...
Oh, okay. So my pick is gonna be like, it's a movie I haven't seen since it came out. I don't know how long ago it came out. Probably like, I'm gonna guess 10 years ago. All right, it came out 10 years ago, and the only reason I'm picking it is because it has like the fucking cameo that I love. The movie was good when I watched it, but maybe it doesn't. Maybe the jokes don't age well. I don't know, but all I know is that cameo is the thing that I never forgot. You know. So like, if you know, don't say it right now. But anyways, so when I saw that movie, it was like whatever, but I never forgot that cameo. I even got drunk and talked about that cameo. That's how good this cameo was to me personally.
Cameo with this movie.
Yeah. So this movie is top 5 with Chris Rock. I don't know if you guys ever seen that movie.
I haven't even heard of this movie.
Top 5?
Top 5 with
I don't think I've ever heard of it.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Don't look it up, Gio.
He's already looking it up.
Just watch the movie. It's probably in somewhere like in Pluto or some dumb shit. So
this is a movie?
Yeah, top 5 with it was a great watch when I saw it. So then, like, I don't know. It's been a while. I don't know when it came out, but I remember when I watched it, I was like, oh, this movie.
Are you sure it came out? Because I've never heard of this movie.
Yeah, so top 5, right? Chris Rock is the star in this movie, right? So that's my pick.
Please don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Outdaily Reviews, Twitter at
It is on Pluto.
Sorry.
Well, that helps. I don't have to pay for this movie.
You just interrupt my fucking social media.
I thought it was on Pluto. What's I got to say?
What the?
So if you want to watch along, Go to Pluto, watch it.
Pluto TV, drop in. It's free.
Good shit.
So you'll be ready for our next episode.
Is that Pluto's like slogan or something?
It is.
I thought you guys had
God.
to pay for this bullshit. Oh my god.
Hashtag not paid.
Sorry, Gina. Go ahead. I apologize.
Podpage.com/and-not-delete. That's our full episodes. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.